Dum da dum da 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 dum da dum da 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 dum da dum da 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 da.
Education and technology have both evolved and fused together throughout the years. Now, instead of using textbooks and paper, more schools are advancing and are starting to use laptops and online books. And some teachers are even using social media sites such as Facebook, Twitter, or even YouTube to reach out to their students and help them learn.
Yes, I do.
Here at ZIS, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, not so many besides myself, but even I myself have kind of scaled back my use of social media in the last couple of years. But I still use it indirectly with my content area, not necessarily with my students at any given time, though.
Do you know how many teachers that use it outside of the school?
Yes, definitely. I think a lot of teachers use social media professionally and personally, obviously, when it comes to like Facebook.
Yes, I use social media to reach out to the students a little bit.
Yeah, I have just started a counselling Facebook page, and that was just a few weeks ago, and we've already had quite a few students look at it, and I'm really happy. I did, as an English teacher, yes, I used to use it sometimes for group projects. I used to also have kids set up character pages and pretend to be characters, and what would their Facebook page look like and things like that. So yeah, I did use it as a teacher.
I do use Facebook, social media, for my Project Green so that I can easily contact them and let them know interesting links that I found, interesting news that I found.
We use it in some of the sport teams.
Well, my Amnesty International group has got a Facebook site, which is run by the students really, to make every week updates. There's a weekly update. Then I use a blog with my TOK class. It's my blog, and I sometimes put questions there, and they make comments ahead of class time before discussion to sort of preload the discussion.
Professionally, sites like Twitter, I know even Facebook, I use Facebook professionally and personally. Professionally to get news and information that I oftentimes bring into my class. Twitter, a lot of teachers, including myself, have what we sometimes refer to as personal learning networks, or PLNs, which are basically the people we follow on Twitter. Not all of whom are, for social reasons. Many of them are for professional reasons. So I follow a lot of professional economists and a lot of economics writers because I'm an economics teacher myself. So I'm always trying to learn information that I could probably or hopefully use in my own teaching when I use sites like Twitter and Facebook. A big one, and some people don't consider this a social network, but YouTube is obviously a social network in itself because of the interactive, conversations that go on through comments on YouTube are very social in their nature. Plus, YouTube videos can be shared in other social networks. And personally, I think anybody who's studied economics at this school knows that I have a YouTube channel that I post video lectures to. And I have about 100 video lectures in the Khan Academy style. So that's one way that I use that social network. I assign my students to watch these videos before a class in which I'm going to introduce a new subject, so they've already come to class with kind of a little bit of information about the subject that we're going to be learning. And I know that my videos are watched by students and teachers and people who are just interested in economics all over the world. I've had about 1.6 million views, and I regularly get comments from university students and then everybody else, high school students, teachers. The other day I heard from a pediatrician, a doctor, who just wanted to ask me some questions about my videos. And he's kind of a budding amateur economist on his own, and he's using some of my videos to learn. So YouTube, I believe, is a very powerful social network because of the multimedia nature. You've got video, audio, and the ability to share on any other platform.
our school portal, but kids were not going to look at it, so I chose Facebook instead.
Now I know that my kids use Twitter for the Project Green, for Project Green to communicate with each other. Personally, I don't use that. Blogging, we also use a bit. I think that we definitely, for Project Green, we could use it better. I'm not sure I would go and use it in class.
We have a Facebook group, which is a closed group for just those that are on the actual track team itself. There are 1 or 2 people who control that.
Well, I have my own blog as well, which I've had since 2008, I guess, maybe sometime like that, 2007, 2008. And I also tweet, but that's among history teachers mainly, just history stuff, interesting articles, and yeah.
I started making YouTube videos about 3 years ago, video lectures, and I did it very actively for about 2 years, and I've kind of not made many videos in the last 1 year, but I still use it because it's a regular part of my instruction. Students are regularly, almost nightly, assigned a video lecture to watch for the next day's class. I'd say I experimented with like Facebook groups a few years ago, like inviting my students to join Facebook groups for my class that I would post information to and post links to resources to.
Probably about 3-4 weeks ago now, so not very long. Just trying it out, just to see whether more students will read that or whether they will go onto the school portal.
Only 2 months.
I've been using it in the last 3 schools I've been at, and I think as far as I'm aware, the track team here have used it for at least 2, if not 3 years.
Can help students already begin discussion online, and students have to contribute online, so students who might be quiet in class get an opportunity to discuss. It's also an excellent way of making announcements, like with my Amnesty group, and it's a useful way of distributing material and sharing.
And then it gives ownership to the students, so they are more likely to watch, read, and keep up.
Well, I think the main thing is distraction. I don't think it is actually always great for concentration. In fact, analysis shows that when people share an article on Facebook or on Twitter, or somehow share an online article, they share it to their friends or their followers, but usually in the majority of cases they haven't even finished reading it themselves, because of course you have this analytics that can tell where people are on the page, and mostly people never finish. If it's an article where you have to go to a second page, for instance, people are a little bit impatient when they're using social media as opposed to paper.
Challenge of managing 2 different Facebook presences at the same time, because I'm active on Facebook for personal reasons, and obviously for my own personal learning network that's on Facebook, but it was actually getting kind of hard to log into 2 different Facebook accounts all the time, so I found myself posting less and less to my kind of school classroom focused Facebook group. And when I stopped posting, it stopped being useful for class. So that's kind of the problem. Now, I still had auto posts set up, like when I publish in a YouTube video, it would automatically get posted to my Facebook group for my class, and that still happens, but I just don't emphasize it as much in class anymore. We can become kind of obsessed with it, so you just gotta find the balance between online presence and the real world. So I think a lot of students can't find that balance. So that's a big disadvantage, is becoming too engrossed in the online social media. Probably detrimental, because our personal relationships suffer often as we become obsessed with kind of the impersonal relations of our social connections online. Academically, I think if it's effectively used by their teachers, it can be very beneficial. I don't necessarily think a lot of teachers effectively use social media. So right now, I think overall it hasn't been all that beneficial from a social or a academic standpoint.
I think it's easy to go off track and start clicking other things, but I do think it's highly engaging. So I think as long as, kids try and stay focused, yeah, it was really engaging and something really quite different from just reading a novel, so it was good.
I haven't used it enough to say. I know that I haven't used social media in the past. If we're just talking about Facebook, I haven't used it in the past because I felt that there was no filter and that it was too easy for people to find out what I was doing and too many images of people coming in from all over. So for me, I didn't really think it was useful, and I think that's the problem. It's not very selective.
Well, I mean, I think it has advantages and disadvantages. I mean, I wouldn't say that it's as simple as liking or disliking. Social media is a reality, and that's you need to come to terms with the reality of the world you're living in, and the reality is neither positive nor negative. You have to use it, I think.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think that in a way it makes our world a much smaller place because we can immediately connect with people all over the world that are interested in the same things that we are. But kind of at the same time, it makes our world a much bigger place because we have all this flow of information coming at us all the time, and that can be overwhelming for some people. So of course, the challenge is to kind of manage it so that it provides us with benefits, but we're not missing out on kind of the here and now, the things that we should be focused on, like our real social networks, which are the people that we kind of live with and work with and go to school with every day. So we can't confuse like our virtual social networks, which are everywhere, right? They're always in our pockets, on our phones. They're always in the back of our minds because we're always wondering like what's going on out there too. You can't confuse that social network with like the real world too, which is probably definitely the more important ones.
I do. I use it myself. I use it for school, so yes, I really like it. I like the visual nature of it. When you look at a Facebook page, you can put more photos. It's not just text, so I really like that.
Yeah, I think it's simple. It's, I guess, social media is something that is normal for you guys in high school, that you've been brought up with it for the last 6, 7 more years of your life. So to speak your language makes it easier for you to relate to it. So our athletes are more likely to look at Facebook, for instance, than they are an email from a ZIS account from a coach, from me, or some of the other captains. So it works, I think.
Since Dr. Pieri was new to the whole social media association with reaching out to students, I had shown her the website educatorstechnology.com, which includes many tips on how to get started with using social media sites such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and more. Many of the links given then gave more links to get more refined lesson on how to use the site with your students. Since the site was quite extensive, Dr. Pieri also suggested that there could be like a workshop taught by students to teach teachers how to use the sites in the classrooms. Overall, social media can be incorporated in many ways through many different sites, and I think that using social media to reach out to students should be considered by teachers and should be attempted for deciding if it's good or bad.